Well, we did have kind of a conversation about your thoughts, even though you weren't here, but we're going to double back to pull you back in because you did, the ending thoughts the week before that we missed you before on the golf tournament. So let's just start with that.
Yeah, we can start with that. That'd be great. So let's see. Do you have the slide actually up on the thing?
Oh, I'm not sharing, I guess.
Oh, you're not sure. Okay.
Oh,
Hold on one second.
there you go. That's why it didn't look the same. I hadn't shared yet. Now you see it?
Now I see it. Very good.
Awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, 2 weeks ago we talked a little bit about not being a victim of change and rather being a master of change. And Brian Tracy is an author that I've read early in my career, and he is a motivational, but also has a lot of very um, kind of technical ways to approach life and business and making changes in your life. And when I was trying to think of something to discuss a couple weeks ago, being, June, summer, it made a lot of sense to talk about what's happening in our market as far as change goes. And also, with the NAR changes that we have, and that we're always looking to adapt when there is changes in our life. And it reminded me of all the times that over my career that buyers and sellers would say, what's the market like right now, or tell me, is this a buyer's market, seller's market? And I would always think, what is the best market for me? What would I like? I mean, do I like a buyer's market, seller's market, or a balanced market? And while I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago, I realized it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what market I like, or where we're at in the market. It's all about adapting and changing. And over my career, I think I've seen about every single change in the market that you can have. Just 2 years ago, we are having you know, people throwing out offers with, non-refundable earnest money. We're not doing appraisals. We're not doing inspections, and we're coming over 30,000 over asking price. It was just crazy. So that was new. I mean, I'd never seen that before. So you go through your career and think, well, I think I've seen about everything and every change, but there's always something new that you have to adapt to. And if you don't adapt and change, you're going to be stuck in the past. So when you think about what's happening, like with marketing, the marketing that I did when I started my career was incredible. I hit the holy grail. I was so excited. I mean, I was killing it with a certain type of marketing that is completely gone and dead now. Like, it's absolutely worthless. So you have to adapt and change. Right now we have AI coming in. We need to, social media is something that came and stayed, that a lot of people ignored. And I think AI is kind of one of those things where people are like, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of do things the old way, and maybe, not adapt yet. I'll see if it sticks. Well, things like that, like AI, it's gonna stick. It's not going anywhere. So the sooner you adapt and make changes in your career, the better you'll be, and you can stay ahead of what's coming. And it helps you grow. When you make changes in your career and your life and your business, you grow as a professional, and it makes you really more attractive to buyers and sellers when you have current knowledge of what's going on in the market and different ways of marketing and finding ways to serve them better. The other thing, Jeff, I mean, or everybody, is when we talk about, what's going on with NAR, that's coming in basically 10 days. The change is here. It's going to happen, and we need to adapt and make that change. So as I recall, Jeff, we talked a lot about that a couple weeks ago too, of the mindset of what that change looks like. And I've heard from a lot of people different ways. like not what's happening, but what's gonna happen and how it's gonna change our industry. And I've heard from gloom and doom all the way, hey, this is just the next step of Amazon taking over every real estate transaction, and AI is gonna just phase us out completely as agents. Like that's the extreme negative, and that we're being pushed out and we're going to get less commissions, all the way to the optimistic side, which I really love, is now that we are kind of dictating our BAC, working with buyers, in a way we just got a raise. And that's the way I look at it, is that hey, now that the NAR has made this change, we have to dictate what we are requesting on an offer, and we have paperwork and addendum stating, hey, my BAC is 3%, and that's what goes in on an offer. So I used to always just take whatever the BAC was on a listing, whether it was 2% or 2.5%. Now I'm going to start with 3% on every transaction and say, hey, this is just the way we do business now. And it'll require some additional conversations that we should have been having with our buyers and our sellers anyway, but now it just requires us to have those conversations. And maybe our clients will be a little more educated and understand the process a little bit better, and they will see the value of having a buyer's agent or a listing agent to help them through the process. But I think, is it a good thing, a bad thing? I think I think first of all, it doesn't matter because it's changing and it's time to adapt, and we need to adapt to grow and keep our business moving in the right direction. So I choose to look at it as a positive and a new way to grow and adapt my skills talking to buyers and sellers, and also to really, dictate what price my value is on every transaction, much as the listing transaction is. So yeah, in summary, Jeff, being the master of change instead of a victim of it, I think is a really fitting topic right now, with everything, with the market changing, and with NAR changing, and doesn't the market always change, right? We're always battling, hey, what's going on in the market, and adapting to it. And sometimes it feels like it changes in a few weeks, right? You can feel it. It's weird. And sometimes man, it is picking up. Something's different, something's changing. You're getting more showings on listings. Maybe your open houses are a little more active. You write an offer and there's maybe a couple other offers that have come in. And then a few weeks later, it feels like it maybe retracts back to where it was a couple months ago. So you really need to stay, up with it and feel a pulse in the market. And that's all about adapting and being a master of the changes that happen in our career.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, Eric. We're talking about change because we're used to something different. But I've heard so many different stats about the number of agents that are going to be in the business in 5 years. Like I've heard as high as 80% of the agents that will be active agents in 5 years aren't even in the business yet. So it'll become their norm. They won't even know any difference. And that's just the way business is done. And I think there's a lot of good things about the whole NAR thing and everything, as far as bringing up conversations and transparency and making agents better. It's just, you got to pivot, you got to adapt.
When I liked a couple of weeks ago, one thing that Jeff had said was, when you're asking like, well, what's your favorite market? It's the current one.
Today.
Yeah, today. Whatever the market is today, because you don't really have a choice. Like,
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
To think it's going to stay the same all the time is what messes people up, and people get out of the business because they don't adapt.
Well, I think it has to do a lot with expectations and perceptions. So if you can change your perception and like your expectations around it, then it just is what it is. It's not good or bad.
Yeah. Every time somebody asks you how the market is, don't you just kind of say it depends on what you're talking about? We had a barbecue yesterday with our business complex here, and people were asking us that question. It's just like,
so has the market.
I almost kind of roll my eyes, just like, okay, what market are you talking about? Are you down in Mapleton? Are you talking about Davis County?
So
Are you talking $1 billion homes or starters? What? Give me more.
That's what Jeff responded with, that's a trick question.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're just testing me because
Yeah.
it totally depends on what you're.
You're setting me up, right?
It totally depends. As a matter of fact, I had an offer on a Salem, and the guy was up in Davis County, and he's like, I just don't get Utah County, like, we're putting offers in, and then we're getting multiple offers in Davis County, it's like, we don't deal with that out here, so even, yeah,
The multiple offers.
multiple offers, but it
Yeah.
was still in the same price range, but
Right.
different counties,
Right.
so, yeah.
Yeah, it's completely different. I was thinking of something that when you talk about the NAR settlement and bringing up conversations, I think it was you, James, that was talking about a listing that you got because one of the reasons was you led with that and they had met with other agents and they're like, nobody's even talked to us about this before. So that gave you some credibility on just sharing information and this is the way things are done. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what happened. They actually had to ask the agent. They brought it up with the other agents where I just addressed it immediately. And then went to like the EXP rider and how it really delineates. You can choose not to, or you can choose to compensate the buyer's agent, so.
That's even more interesting because they knew about it and they had to ask the other agent about it instead of having to bring it up. So maybe there was some distrust right off the bat. Super cool. Anybody else have anything on that? That was awesome, Eric.
Well, I think one thing I was thinking about too is anytime there's change and something becomes difficult, it's easy to blame the change on your challenges that you're having. And instead of saying, hey, it's me that's not adapting, I need to adapt better for this challenge to become better and make my business stronger. And we see it all the time with, hey, this is a big change. I'm getting out of the business. I'm done. This is it. This is the final straw, right? Instead of saying, hey, here's a challenge. I'm going to adapt and become better and more successful. We see it all the time with, there's agents that pop around different brokerages all the time. Like every 6 months, they're leaving to another brokerage because they're not selling houses. It's like, you can sell houses at any brokerage, right? It's not, it doesn't matter. It's what you're doing that dictates how you're doing in business. So don't look to blame something else on the challenge that's in front of you. Just buckle up and make those, those changes and adapt to become, a better agent and, more successful in what you're really striving to do. So.
Well, and we get comfortable too. Maybe we just got good at a certain way of doing business. Like I know what you're talking about when you're talking about when you first got your license and the marketing that you used to do. And a lot of it was print ad, and those magazines that used to be in the grocery stores and stuff like that just don't exist anymore. And you had no choice but to adapt, but you literally could have said, well, but the way I get my business doesn't work anymore, so I guess I got to do something else. I like a different business.
It was pretty interesting. I remember it was pretty much when Michelle and I got married. Within a 3-month period, I had over 1,000 leads coming in a month. To 1 month, I had 13. And it was within a 3-month period of that drastic of a change. And I was doing everything exactly the same way. Now, we did have a little bit of a massive change in the real estate industry in general, because it was 2008, right? But that form of marketing never came back. And I was running full page, magazine pages with 12 to 15 properties, an 800 call capture number. And let's see, Homes Illustrated, it was Harmon's Homes, Homes Illustrated, and the Real Estate Handbook were the three. And they were in every grocery store everywhere. And it was incredible. And I think I was the second person to have an 800 number in a magazine like that would do a call capture. So nobody knew what it was. Buyers would just call the number and not know their number was being captured. And it really was a holy grail at the time, but it completely changed. So had to adapt because it just completely went away and it was fast.
I think it's such a benefit to you that it did because you started focusing more on relationships and you have such a great referral business right now. And that one really wasn't about relationships. In fact, I remember you weren't even you didn't even have time to follow up with all the leads. They just kind of like got lost by the wayside, because you had too many.
Yeah.
But you weren't really connecting with them personally either.
Yeah, a lot of my referral business comes from that time, because I did develop some relationships, but I let a lot of it go by because I was only focusing on the ones that were really serious. And that might be 15 or 20 out of those 1,000 a month.
Yeah.
So real quick, in line with this, I wanted to bring up a comment that I saw in the Salt Lake Board of Realtors members group this morning. Someone posed a question that said, what do you like about your brokerage? Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of brokerages is just a place to hold your license. I'm curious on anyone else's experience on reasons why they like their brokerage. And my thoughts on that were like, it's interesting to me how many people blame their brokerage for their success or like their ability to adapt and change to the market. And I mean, my response to that was just, I love the connection I have with the people I'm surrounded by. I genuinely enjoy spending time with them and love how supportive everyone is. My brokerage has all the tools and resources, but I truly believe it's more about the people and culture you are a part of that makes it worth it. I just thought that was interesting, and it goes with the change, like, because we see so often people switch brokerages and then they're not immediately successful, so they go, well, my brokerage isn't giving me what I need. So they go somewhere else, and then the same thing happens when they go somewhere else.
That's interesting too. A lot of people join teams for that reason. It's like, oh my gosh, this team's so successful. I'm gonna join that team and I'm gonna be successful. And then they found out, oh shit, I gotta work. I have to do what they do.
Yeah.
Huh.
Mhm.
We were talking about that yesterday. That's like the 3 people that got off my team. It's been a year and they haven't sold anything. So they went to new brokerage. They
Right.
haven't sold anything.
And they'll probably move again.
Yeah.
And they're just looking for something that's gonna fix it for them
Right.
instead of it being,
Yeah.
them fixing it. I think they need more education on this. Like, it doesn't honestly, I mean, there's great things at EXP. I love the leadership. I love that they're debt free and I love that they're gonna be around. And they're constantly implementing new things for us. I love all of that, but honestly, it doesn't matter. I was at Keller Williams for 10 years. I never plugged into anything they did, but I worked on my business, and so they can offer all kinds of stuff like Keller Williams did. If you don't use it, and the people that left, it's like, that's okay. I mean,
That's kind of why I like what I do, is because it's like, I've spent so much money coaching with people that you're like, I want what they have, and you're like, and then you don't get the same results, and then you're frustrated, and that's a cycle of every, it's like you have to go with your strengths and what you're good at and develop your business around how you want to create it, not.
that's a good point. Some of those coaches and stuff, well, even the stuff you guys are doing, like, Tony Child and that kind of stuff, it's like elevated, right? Getting to that level or whatever takes a long time and a lot of work. You don't just jump there. And so people really need to pat themselves on the back for the incremental changes and increases and wins.
I think, and Brianna will recognize this, but if you go on YouTube and you search like Earl Gray's The Common Denominator of Success, it's actually like a little short pamphlet by Albert Ian Gray. And so Albert was like an insurance salesman back in the day, and so he just really breaks it down because he was in charge of leading a group to be successful. It's like, I don't even know what I want this group to be successful, and I'm in charge of leading them. Like, I don't even know what the success principles are. And then he's like, oh damn it. It's like,
I got no metric.
He's got to figure it out. But it's like a 20-minute listen. But he says in here, the common denominator of success, the secret of success of every person who has ever been successful lies in the fact that they form the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. Because even the successful people don't like to do it. They just do it.
It's what's necessary.
But that's worth it. Listen.
I love that. I love that.
What was that again? So I can write
It's called the common denominator of success.
So to start off on this next section, I want you guys to have your input as well, but Ashley and I did a thing yesterday. We decided, we were talking about all these relationships that we're nurturing and these events that we're doing, and masterminds, and the people we're meeting, and we're trying to help small businesses with, up their referral network and stuff like that. And we were like, we go on walks with her. She brings her dogs sometimes. We just go on walks a lot. So we're walking through the complex and we realize, I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
I've been here 5 years and I don't know anybody, even our neighbors right next door. I see them and we say hi,
Yeah.
don't know their names, don't know anything about them, whatever. So we said, let's do a barbecue.
Yeah.
Let's just bring some hamburgers and hot dogs and invite everybody. Actually made a little invitation. We went around, knocked on doors, hardly anybody opened the door, not, or they weren't there, whatever. But then we had some conversations as we went around, but we slid them under the door. She got a hold of the email addresses for the owners in the complex and sent it out. And literally yesterday we were setting up and it was her daughter Skylin and us two. And I got the tent, I got my grill, we're taking the ice chest out and everything. We're like, it could just be us.
Yeah.
Like, we have literally
Yes.
no idea if we're
Yeah.
gonna get one person or 50 people.
But we were okay with it. It's like, oh God, what if they all come? Go get some more hamburgers.
Yeah.
But do we have enough buns, So we're bringing all this stuff, just like we didn't ask them to register or anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, the reason I tell you that is because with relationships and what's successful and working and doing the things, the very first guy that came over, he was kind of timid, he kind of looking around, nobody else was there. And he comes and he's like, hi. And he was like really kind of timid and stuff. I was like, hey, are you here for some food? Or whatever?
Yeah.
And I said, you want a hamburger or a hot dog? And he says, oh, I'll go more vegetarian. So he put everything on his hamburger bun that would go on a hot hamburger, but the hamburger. But he's a clinical psychologist, and it was interesting because we started, what do you do? We've never met, right?
Yeah.
Now he wants to set up another meeting because one thing he doesn't do is invest in real estate. And he's been thinking about it, I need to talk to you about that. So we had a little conversation about our background and what we do. He didn't even know what we do. Our office is right there with my real estate group. And so just from like doing something, I'm putting ourselves out there and interacting, that came of that, right? And so we're gonna be meeting and talking about getting some rental properties. But everybody that showed up, they didn't know each other either. So here we are now connecting all these people. They're like, oh, hey, I'm in building B, I'm over here in E. And they're all meeting each other for the first time. And it was just really interesting to watch because that was step one.
Yeah.
Now, when we see them again, it's like, oh, hey, I forgot your name, whatever, because that's usually what I lead with. I forgot your name. But now we can start a conversation and we can learn more about their business and stuff. So anyway, that was a good win for us. Is just like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
We didn't know what to expect. Maybe nobody will come. Who cares?
Yeah.
We're gonna do it anyway. And so then we've since then already talked about the things we would do different and little things like, hey, let's get signs and there's only 3 entrances to this complex. Free barbecue today in front of G2, blah, 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 join us for lunch, things like that for the ones that didn't get our flyer, just little things like that. And then everybody there was saying, this should be a monthly thing.
Yeah.
They were all thanking us for putting it on. They were all really grateful for it.
People were offering like help next time, like let's make it a potluck, we'll bring something.
People are talking about the side salads. They're just a wizard at making them, stuff like that. Oh, next time I could bring it. I got some specialty dishes. So that was really cool. And just putting yourself out there and doing something instead of thinking about it. So
Isn't it that easy that they had developed a habit of not talking to anybody within 50 yards of themselves?
Yep.
And the easiest, well, you guys did like the hard part, like the activation energy part to start that. Now they get a benefit from the ease with which the next one's gonna happen.
for sure. Now they're getting reacquainted. Yeah.
There's so much crossover too in businesses. Like we even found out one of our neighbors is a real estate attorney. We're like, cool. Like we had no idea.
Like specializes in real estate.
No
That's
idea.
all he does. And then there was another litigation attorney, a lot of different.
So that attorney didn't even know you were here.
I was gonna say, I was surprised the attorney didn't contact
They-
you guys.
They just do their own thing. They're
Yeah.
coming here to work.
Everyone,
Yeah.
I mean, like we said, even when we went to hand out invitations, like nobody answered their door, like everybody's got their doors locked,
Yeah.
like it's so weird. So it was kind of cool to have everybody come out and everyone was really actually very shy coming over. And
Mhm.
then they opened up and.
A couple of them walked over and said, I heard there was free food.
Or someone came out and said, I'm here to get my boss food.
But think about what you said. He's a real estate attorney. He may or may not know we're there. Blinders, right? He's showing up to his office. Do you think they really kind of like us is like drive around the complex? And, oh, I wonder what other businesses are in here and how I can network and how I can relate to them, how I can build my business or how I can serve them. Even if they think about it, taking that action is like the hard part, right? Well, like thinking about having a barbecue, because almost everybody there says, we've been thinking the HOA should do something like this. We should, they've thought about this before, but we took the action, we actually planned it and did it. And people literally were saying the HOA should be the one doing this. I'm like, yeah, well.
Just
They're
send
not,
just send them the receipts.
There you go. Just get an envelope.
Yeah, my dues come due, it's like,
Yeah.
here's my voucher.
Deducted.
Here's a UOE card.
Mhm. But it wasn't that expensive for hamburgers and hot dogs.
Yeah, especially if we get even like one referral.
We just did like chips and water. We didn't try and make it like
Really
Sydney
good.
would.
No, Cindy would have done balloons and would have had like.
Live bands.
I always think of that. I'm like, I'm just here for the connection with the people.
Yeah.
Like, it's not gonna look pretty.
Yeah, it went really well. And the fact to even just get a warm lead like that from somebody that wants to do what we do and say, here's my card, can we set up a time to talk about this? Totally
Yeah.
worth it, right? Build some momentum.
That was a win.
That was a win. Anybody else have a win they want to share or even a challenge? I know Bree's got some challenges she's been sharing with me on her transactions.
Yes.
Why don't you just start and share that with them so you can get some input from them.
Oh, the challenge? Okay.
Yeah, the challenge.
So I have a house or a lot under contract. And we're supposed to close on Wednesday. The builder wanted to buy the lot instead of having the homeowner buy it, and then he was just gonna do the construction loan and have him get a conventional loan at the end. So, we had to sign the rep sheet over to the builder. And then the other agent, he's been really, really difficult to work with. He asked if we could close a couple days early. He wants to close on Monday instead of Wednesday. So I called the lender and he's pushing it through as fast as he can. And said we should be able to get it done by Friday, but I can't guarantee it. So I send over the addendum to sign the rep C over to the builder, and the agent's like, we're not gonna sign it unless you can guarantee we can close on Monday.
Which is early.
Which is early, yeah, we're like scheduled to close on Wednesday. I'm like, there's only so much we can do, like, I've already talked to the lender, he's pushing it through, but like, I don't know what else you want us to do, I mean, and if you don't sign this, title's not gonna have the last addendum, they're not gonna be able to have everything ready, so.
Right.
Anyways, I finally got it, he wasn't talking to me, he doesn't answer my emails, phone calls, or text anymore, like, just be. Yeah, I know, like, someone's gonna release something, and you have a lot of stress you need to get rid of. But anyways, so I finally got him to sign it through his escrow officer. I just emailed her and I'm like, hey, because we had to switch title companies too, which sucked, but that builder only uses this. So I sent everything over to our new title company and I let his escrow officer know that we changed title companies. I said, we have everything ready to go. I know he wants to close on Monday, but the only thing we're lacking is this addendum that's assigning over the rep C. So once he gets it to us, then our escrow officer has everything. And so she finally emailed him and got that signed only because his escrow officer was asking for it. So we did get it signed. Yeah, but that was stressing me out a little bit because we had 40,000 non-refundable earnest money. Yeah,
Right.
so that's what kind of scared me about it. I was
Well,
like,
it kind of, I mean, the main thing I hear when you're telling me about that is the unprofessionalism in working together to get the transaction done, because he was like talking down to you and
Yeah.
telling you what was gonna happen.
Yes.
And I've run into that before too, and it's like.
That's
it's not-
actually exactly what I said to him. I said, we have a common goal, like, we would love to close early too, like, the goal is we want to get the deal done.
Yep,
So I don't know why you're fighting against me.
let's
Yeah.
work together.
Yes, yeah. That's how most agents, I haven't experienced that before, where we've actually like butt heads like that. I've never experienced where he went.
Well, and the other part you shared with me was he was making another problem that he's facing your problem,
Yes.
because you need to help him solve his other problem because they have another closing.
Mhm.
And he didn't stack properly.
Yes.
So he needs to close this one early, or he's got negotiation, he's in a he's gonna be the one, hey, I need a favor.
Yeah.
We need an extension, we need a couple of days,
Yeah,
because I didn't set my deadlines properly.
right.
So his frustration is
Projecting
coming
it on
through
me.
to you.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. So
And
that
we
was a
just
good-
suck it up
I
and we
know.
breathe.
I seriously, this is how to breathe it through. I wanted to say, as a matter of fact, he called me a liar and my client a liar multiple times throughout the thing. Told me my client wasn't out of the country when he was. We had to send like a actual like screenshot of him FaceTiming from a different country. It was just so bizarre. I know, it's so bizarre. And I was so pissed afterwards. I'm like, after we like proved everything that he said we were lying about, I was like, you owe me and my client an apology. Like, I really wanted to write it out and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna suck it up, just let it go. Just swallow my pride.
But the cool thing is, you also mentioned to me in other conversations about it, is the lessons you learn from it, because you don't act like that for Vaughn.
Right.
But she's already projecting forward, what if I got another listing, I'm in a multiple offer situation, and he's trying to fight for his client to be on here.
Yeah, I told you.
I
I'm
actually
like-
call it fiduciary responsibility to share
I
that with.
said that. I said, if there's another situation, I have to deal with him again. Like, I would seriously warn my client, like, he's been really, really hard and difficult to work with, so I wouldn't recommend.
May not be
Yeah.
a smooth
Right,
transaction.
exactly,
Things can
yeah.
come up last minute.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's all good, even the challenges are good to learn from,
Mhm, that's true.
actually better.
Very true.
What about you guys, what you got going on?
We participated in the Davis County Realtor Tour yesterday
Oh, cool.
with our listing up in North Salt Lake, and it was a good experience, I thought. Like, all the agents were super friendly. We met at some little Episcopal church and they talked about a cool little what was it? A charity. And that's not necessarily the important, it was kind of cool. We'll talk about it a little bit later time, but yeah, so we got some good feedback on that property that we will relay to them, but I think it's gonna be a good networking place, because most of them are from Berkshire Hathaway and maybe one other. They're like, so where's your office? I said, it's in the cloud.
Yes.
And I honestly think half of them didn't even know what that meant.
Right. Like, what do you mean?
It's in the cloud, but is that by
That
pharmacy?
means, yeah.
It's the same place where my head up.
That's the one that I said, I was like, oh, I'm there too. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I should officially come over to the cloud.
I'll come there. So.
But I think that'll be a good thing. I think Shane enjoyed it. I think it'd be worth going to on a regular basis. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's on Wednesdays, which we couldn't do before, but
Mhm.
it was good. We got some really great feedback for our clients that are priced pretty high, and I think it was a good, well, we don't know, he's gotta talk to him today, but
Yeah.
I think it's a good reality check to have them hear multiple people say that you need to bring the price.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that you did that and collected that information is good too.
Cause we haven't had any showings, no feedback to tell us that.
That is, yes, we have the same thing. My client will not lower. That's a good idea to put it on the.
On the realtor or a bunch of realtors.
There's one up in Weber County. There's one in Salt Lake. They're
We have
like-
one, it's the South County one, but you have to have 5 houses, so I've actually tried to get it on there and there hasn't been.
Just put your house down 5 times.
Good idea. We're just gonna visit
Like,
them
just
for
see
5
how
different times.
effective these people are.
Look through the listings that are kind of maybe in the same price range, maybe
Yeah,
and
that's
actually ask the other agents to participate with you,
Yeah.
kind of organize it.
Just, I've even
Yeah.
thought of getting maybe other either EXP agents. Well, I guess you'd have, at the one up there, you have to be sitting in the house the whole time,
Oh, okay, yeah.
which we learned after we started visiting the other house. But if there's other EXP houses down there, I'm sure you could find somebody down there to
Yeah.
help you. That way, you just create the 5
Yeah.
if you want to go ahead without seeing the.
Or even look for ones days on the market that could use the same feedback and say, this is why I'm doing it, and I noticed your listing, I've seen it before, wish I had a buyer for it, blah, 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 connect with them and then say, this might work for you too, this is why I'm doing it, because I need to get some other opinions from my, that'd be fun to
And that
learn.
luxury tour is awesome too. I did my $3 million one on that because. We don't have very many showings. It's just an odd, like an interesting
Right.
house, you know,
Right.
so it's just a unique buyer. And so it's cool to have them all go through it and give lots of feedback. So it's cool.
Cool, that sounds awesome. Eric, you got anything?
First of all, hello, Brianna.
How's it going?
I didn't say hi to you. The screen for the office was really tiny because I had the other one up, but good to see you.
You too.
You know, it's funny when you're talking about this agent with a challenge. I'm actually working with an agent on the other side of a transaction. He's on the buyer side. And immediately on talking to him the very first time, he made it known that he was a broker And he's brought it up like multiple times. Well, I'm a broker, so it's just like he throws it in. It's kind of funny. And he's made like 3 or 4 mistakes during the transaction that I've had to correct. And
Start telling him that he's a broker.
Well,
I know it's like he's his own broker, his own agent. I don't know if he has any agents, but it's kind of funny. Just part of it is just dealing with different personalities. And I've said for years to other agents that have gone through some challenges, just in the business, that the two hardest things about being a realtor is the property picks the agent you have to work with, and you have to be a chameleon with personalities. It's always a challenge, but yeah, I'm glad you got it resolved. But I have been very gentle with the corrections on the errors, not to make him, I didn't want to combat or, battle against him, just to keep that good relationship going. But yeah, it's interesting what kind of personalities you have. I think some agents like to just feel like they have to do something to kind of show value or win or be a little combative for no reason, when we're really just trying to make everything smooth for the buyer and seller and just work together on it. So good job.
It's an ego thing.
It is. Yeah, it's crazy to me, but
Okay, I just noticed what time it is, so I'm gonna rip through the
Okay.
rest, because I want to get to Brianna's. So last week's training was really awesome.
Yeah.
Quick thought on that, no?
He did a really great job, I think, just like working on mindset. And I mean, it's funny because he was the one that I was talking about a few weeks ago, where he kept saying in his teaser trailer that the market was turbulent. And so I think what would have been good for him was to like kind of find out where we were mindset wise before he did his training. Because he referenced a lot of like what you would think the typical real estate agent would think, but we're a lot different than that. So
That's his audience.
yeah, but it was a really great training and I took away a lot from it. For sure.
And it is recorded. It would be worth a lot.
It's a good share too.
Yep. Yeah, good share. This is today. Spencer's gonna be back, some CE credits, and it's a 2 hours, isn't it?
No, this is the one
Oh, who did I just interview? The
Tucker,
Tucker.
2 hours.
Okay.
next week.
Speaking of which, he's next week. Tucker's a 2 hour CE and he'll be in here. And then Ashley and I are putting together a presentation on how to build your referral business. I'll brush over that. EXP Miami coming up. Tomorrow. Have you gotten any invitations then?
Oh, yeah, I have. No, I wouldn't do that.
But I got things, man.
We were supposed to
Anyway.
go voting, but I don't know, I haven't been to your pool yet, so. Bring the boat.
Just make it a stop by on your way.
So let's bring the boat.
Anyway, that'll be fun. Look forward to seeing you guys and your kids again. And parting thoughts is Bree.
Okay.
Right, I'm excited.
So I wanted to talk about something that I've been doing. If you've seen me on Instagram the last year, I've been doing breath work, and I didn't know what that was before. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about it and how it's helped me in real estate, or really in any stressful situation at all. So if you think about it, we don't ever pay attention to our breath. And it's so important. Like if you don't go with food for, you can only live without food for a couple weeks. You can only live without water for a few days, but breath you can only live without for a few minutes. Yet we never really think about it. We're not really aware of it. So what I've been learning the past year is how being aware and consciously breathing really can benefit us when we know how to properly use it. And so if you think about it, like if you've ever panicked or had anxiety or whatever, just if you recognize how you're breathing, it's really shallow and usually in your chest, really, really fast. Yes. And so if we're wanting to relax, reduce anxiety, reduce depression, we need to have slow, long inhales and exhales, and we just don't really pay attention to that. So I got introduced to breathwork. I don't know if I told you guys this. I don't know if anyone else knows this, but Jeff invited me to Louis. Did I tell you guys about this? I can't remember. So really quick, I'll just tell you my experience with that. I went to a breathwork session with you at Louis, and I don't know if you remember, I was like, I got done, I couldn't even talk. I was like bawling. I thought it was a mindset thing. That's what, I think that's what he said, is a mindset. And then he's like, okay, go to the bathroom and then come back, we're gonna breathe. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean breathe? Like, I breathe every day. So
I
anyway,
got that down.
I mean, I think I'm doing a pretty good job. So anyways, in that session, it was just, so it was an hour-long session, and I came out with clarity, peace. I had like dug down into, I felt like like my divine purpose almost, like all in 1 hour. I seriously was like, holy crap, how did this happen in 1 hour just from breathing? It was magic. It seriously was magic. So I talked to Louis afterwards and I was like, I've got to learn how to do this. Like, I've got to learn how to do this. My 2 daughters have really bad anxiety. I'm like, this is great for them. And I just wanted to do it just to learn how to do it for myself. And it's evolved into like helping other people do it as well. When I talk to people about it, so many people are like, I want to know how to do this. I deal with anxiety, my kids have anxiety, whatever, you know, it's just, it's been really awesome to be able to teach this to other people and help them. So there's 2 parts to breath work. Like, one is just being aware of your breath awareness. And the second part is consciously breathing. So if you just want to do something for a second, put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly and just notice how you're breathing. Are you breathing fast or slow? Are you breathing through your chest? Or are you breathing through your belly? It's just really important to be aware, because that's the first part. You can't change it if you're not aware of how you're breathing. So anyways, that's the first part. The second part is then consciously breathing. So if you're breathing fast or you're breathing through your chest, you know, really you're supposed to be breathing through your belly to get that calming motion, to be able to activate that parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxation. You need to be aware, obviously, if you're not doing that. And so the second part is consciously breathing. And I wanted to show you guys a little bit, like my goal today was just kind of give you an overview of what breathwork is, if you didn't know what it was. And I know you guys know what that is, but to just kind of tell you what it is, which is it's consciously breathing for your benefit, like using breath to be able to help you relax, calm down. You can release stuck emotions. You can even do it. There's so many different types of modalities of breath work that you can do for different, I mean, you can even do it for energy. You can do it to go to sleep at night. You can do it to release emotion. So many different ways to do it. So, but it's just consciously breathing to be able to benefit yourself and give yourself what your body needs. So that's just a quick overview of it. You can think of it as breath being like the regulatory, is that a word?
Yeah.
System for your nervous system. Like, I mean, that it controls your nervous system. It controls how you feel. And I just wanted to show you guys a quick breathwork thing. Like when you come to me, like we do like Louis, it's an hour session and you're probably not going to get this like life-changing experience that I did in an hour or, you know, in 5 minutes. But this is just something I do. My daughter, my 6th grader, she has really, really bad anxiety and she wasn't going to, I mean, she was going to school, but it was a nightmare, like crying every single morning, like fits every single day. And I had this, it sucks. And so many kids are like this. And I had that with my older daughter. I'm like, I cannot do this again. Like, I can't go through another year of this. And so we started doing this before she went to school. Every morning, it was just part of our morning routine. Like she had breakfast, brushed her teeth, and we did this before, and it helped her. I mean, it didn't make her anxiety go away, but it just calmed her down to be able to go to school without being in tears and freaking out. Because that's the other things. Once it's like a cycle or a snowball effect. Once you start getting nervous, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't go to school because now my stomach's gonna hurt. Now her stomach hurts, and now she feels like she has to go to the bathroom in front of people, and that it just snowballed. So it just calms her down. It stops her in that process.
Have you thought about doing groups for kids?
That's actually what I'm really focusing on. Yeah.
Well, that's where my
Which is-
mind went.
yeah.
You were saying that it's like there's a lot
That's
of other
really-
kids in that same
It's
situation.
exactly what I want to focus.
Because then it's supportive to their parents.
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
But
And I
also
had
you-
parents, when I did that 30-day on
That's-
Instagram, so many parents reached out to me and they're like, can you teach my daughter this? Can you, as a matter of fact, I was thinking about holding like like a parent-child class where the parents can come and,
Together.
yes, yeah.
I actually just met someone that does that, like in
Really?
the office the other day. I'd love to connect.
Yes, I would love that. Honestly, I would love that. That would be so cool. So, yeah, it's just been so helpful and benefit. It's just been so important to me.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Her name is, well, I just met her. Let me pull it up. Brindley.
Brindley?
Oh, I can see it. Not.
She's in Bluffdale, so she's like
Oh,
in
okay.
my neighborhood.
Oh,
I'm
cool.
She's in Buffalo. I asked her if she knew Louis and she's like, no, she doesn't. And I was showing her pictures of his warehouse, his
Oh,
shop.
yes. Oh my gosh. He
Yeah,
expanded
his
it. Did you
environment.
know that?
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
Brindley
crazy.
Warden
Okay.
is her name, and she's like Barefoot Brindley on Instagram. I can send you her.
Yeah,
Instagram.
I'd love to follow her. That'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
Super cool.
So, yeah. So anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about.
So why do you think, sorry, you mentioned that not everyone will have that life-changing experience.
Yeah.
Why do you think you did?
I think she meant in the 5 minutes.
I know.
Yeah, but in that experience, I think eventually you probably will if you do it enough times. Definitely, like everyone that I at some point has had a really cool experience. I think my biggest thing, because then my husband went back and he's like, oh, this is so cool, I want to do it. And he didn't get anything. I think I wasn't expecting anything. Like I
He was
literally just,
forcing it too much.
yeah, he was totally forcing it. I just let my mind go. I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of times you try to control it. And you just have to really let your mind just go. And I literally just focused on breathing in and out because I had no idea what to expect. And my
That's probably better. I remember talking to you afterwards and you
I
had,
barely even talk. I was like, okay, I don't
you had a
really cry.
couple
I don't know
of
what.
specific things. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
I came out feeling like a badass. That's literally, do you remember? I'm like, I feel like a badass.
Well, literally what you told me was you either had a conversation or you talked to a version of yourself
Yes,
during breath work and she told you were a badass.
Yep.
And you said, and it was so emotional too, because I almost started crying. You said it and I believed her.
I know. So it really what it was is I felt like, okay, we're all born with these like divine gifts. And I feel like life just like shit on all of it. And then like you forget about that. And I felt like that session just cleared it off and it was like, this is who you are. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. It was cool. Yeah, it was so cool. So.
I think it's interesting that you went in thinking it was like a mindset thing, so maybe you didn't have, you weren't developing any preconceived notions.
That's
about
exactly what it
is.
was.
And
Yeah.
so,
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what Aaron wanted. He was like, I want that same experience. And he didn't get it. So.
It was the way we build it. It was achievement and mindset and stuff.
Yeah,
I think
We
it,
tricked you.
really cool. Yeah, I love it.
But it does have to do with expectations. I remember Lily saying something about that, like when you go in with no expectations, you're able to have the experience. And the first time I went, I had like a really cool experience, and the second time I had a cool experience, and then the next time I was like, I wanna have that experience again, I wanna have that
Yeah,
experience.
totally.
And it didn't happen,
Yeah.
because I was like trying to hold on to it.
You're
so
trying to
hard.
control it
Yeah.
and yeah, it's really hard to just, I mean, there's an emotional part or a mental part to it where you just have to let your mind go and it's really hard. I mean, your mind will wander and you'll think about things you have to do and then you have to bring it back to the breath and just kind of let go of all of your other thoughts. So yeah, it's interesting, but.
And so it was actually called Mastering the Science of Achievement and the Critical Role That Breathwork Plays.
But it does have mindset stuff.
Mhm.
Mindset portion, yeah.
Mindset in there, yeah, or maybe that's just what I thought, but you're like, bring yoga mats, and I'm like, are we doing yoga? Like, why are you bringing yoga
That's
mats?
awesome, and you came.
I know, I'm like, "Hey." Yeah, I'm so glad I did.
Cool.
It was meant to be too, because I was in Jamaica when you guys were supposed to originally do that, but you got canceled from a snowstorm.
Yeah.
It was all meant to be,
Yeah,
seriously,
that's right.
so
Yeah.
then I could come to the second one, so it's cool. But, I can just show you guys really quick. I don't know how much time we have. We don't have to do a whole thing, but I
Yeah,
can just show you
so-
like how to breathe. I don't know if like you guys can see me here. So, can you, no? Oh, no. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm just gonna go to the side so you can see. So we want to fill up our belly with the air. So we're not breathing through our chest. We're gonna be breathing through our belly. And you're gonna breathe in through your mouth. You can breathe through your nose or through your mouth, but it's a little more intense if you breathe through your mouth. So I like to breathe through my mouth. And we're gonna fill, you can actually, if you want to like put your hands on your ribs and just fill up your belly with air. So you're actually feeling your hands move. So you're just this what, and then you're gonna gently drop the breath in the exhale. So it's gonna look like, or you can just, so you're completely filling your belly up with air. And then it's not like a forced exhale, you're not like, it's just gently dropping it, yeah, just gentle release. So when you're doing this with me, it's like you guys have all done it, it's an hour. Did you come to my, you haven't been to mine yet, James has been to mine, yeah, we'll need to do it. She's still struggling with it, so I need to get her used to it. So anyways, so you're gonna be doing this for an hour, but what I did with my daughter, it's called the 4-7-8. So you're actually breathing in for 4 counts, and then you're holding at the top for 7 counts. And then you're exhaling for 8 counts. So I was gonna do it with music, but you guys can just go on we just went into my bedroom and dimmed the lights, and sometimes I had some music and sometimes I didn't. So you can just do this anywhere. Well, it's kind of odd if you do it anywhere, but if you're if you're in the grocery store doing it, people might be like, what's
Once you
going on?
concentrate.
Yeah.
Everything.
What do I need to buy? Just stay focused. So anyways, but you can do this we would do it 10 times. So I'll guide you guys through just a couple, and then you can do this on your own whenever. But when you exhale, so we're gonna breathe in, so we're gonna fill our belly up for 4 seconds, then we're gonna hold at the top for 7 seconds, and then gently exhale for 8 seconds. And then when you exhale, just try to notice where you're holding tension. Just be aware where unclench your jaw. You're gonna notice your shoulders are probably tense. Just try to, on the exhale, release your shoulders. So here we go. We'll just breathe in 4-4. So breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold at the top 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll do it one more time. In 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So just do that 10 to 15 times, just until you can feel, you'll start feeling if you do it enough times, you'll start feeling your shoulders will relax, your mouth will unclench. If you're like me, I always have my mouth
It
clenched.
takes effort to not blow out the
It
breath.
does, yeah, you have
And
to
let
just, let it. And then if you go into longer, as you do it more, and you get more advanced and you can hold it longer, you can exhale longer, you're actually exhaling chi, which is a wholly different thing, but you're actually purging out stuck emotions or just things that are no longer serving you. It's interesting.
And there's a lot of visualization things you can
Yeah,
add in.
you're inhaling light, exhaling smoke.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
It's fun to play around with it, so. If you
when's your
guys
next-
ever, so not next Tuesday, on the 9th, I am teaching an hour class, the life-changing class that happened for me. It's in Linden, at 7 o'clock, so I.
call it the life-changing class.
No, but I did right now because I felt like it sounded good.
That was awesome. And so, I'm sorry, good job. What's the date?
It's the 9th
Ninth?
at 7, so yeah, I'll give you the address if we.
Okay.
When you do one of those ones.
Yeah, I just do it the second Tuesday, so it's always the second Tuesday at 7.
Okay.
And where you live
Linden.
Linden.
It's at the Institute of Healing Arts. Yeah.
Isn't there a energy and healing expo this weekend or something? In Sandy, at
It
the one in Sandy,
The
yeah.
Expo Center, I don't know, that'd be
I
cool.
actually have that on. my
I
calendar.
saw that on Facebook or something. I was thinking you should have a.
Yeah, I should totally have done that.
Oh, I'm looking in your.
I've just been having, I haven't really been building it up, I've been having people reach out to me, really, because I've been busy with real estate.
Right.
Well, when
which
you
is
bring
good.
that energy out there, people.
Seriously, that's why I said, the people that Will came to me with his addiction group, it's interesting, people are just hey, I just felt like I should reach out to you. That's how I feel we should connect, obviously, there's something that's going on that.
Do you know what a pitch card is with pitch 59?
Oh, Tracy was telling me about that, I need to do that, yeah, I haven't done that, actually.
You could actually have 2 if you wanted to, if you're on a real estate connection or
Yeah.
whatever, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is how I connect with your real estate,
Yeah.
whatever. But as far as breath work, because it's geared to help people get more referrals. We've had tremendous success.
Really?
The people we've met and the connections that I've given to other people, it's been an amazing ride, but it's such a good tool because you get to introduce yourself. You get to explain what breathwork is to you and why you do what you do.
Yeah.
And then the people that have experienced your sessions, or is that what you call a
Yeah.
session?
Yeah.
You make it super easy for them to tell somebody else about it because they don't know how to explain it yet. They just experienced it for the first time. But if they just, when you hit share, it automatically pulls up a three-way text with your number already in it, a text that you write on how you want to be introduced. All they have to do is add somebody's name and their phone number and get sent. Done.
That's awesome.
And
That's really
then
cool.
when it pulls up, it's your video introducing yourself, something personal about yourself or whatever, and then what, what you do, what problem you're trying to solve, what your solution is to that, and why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
The connection, because it's a video and it's your personality,
Yeah.
and you at this point, because of your journey, know what to say, like
Yeah.
you just did to us
Yeah.
on the benefits of it, and that person is now going to share that with somebody that knows nothing.
Nothing about it.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea, actually. We need to do that. You did one in the fire, right? Your chart, yeah. I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you share that much?
I try to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get out more.
Well, we're gonna be talking about this in our referral presentation we're doing on July 11th. There's so many different things you can do with it to create engagement. Like even just, once you do one, you get to share it with your entire SOI, everybody you know, and I've done this. And all I said was, I've updated some of my contact information, will you click this link and hit share, or save?
Awesome, yeah.
And people picked up the phone and were calling me, they haven't talked to him forever. Because it was a new thing, they saw a video of me, some people reached out to see if it was legit,
Oh, yeah.
click on this link,
Yeah. Is this a real thing or you
Yeah.
can spam?
but the engagement was awesome.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, and it's gonna reintroduce them to a side of you that maybe they don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, it's cool, we're gonna talk more about that in July.
Do you have a separate like breathwork Instagram or does it?
Yeah, I do. It's called Breathe with Bree. I'll send it to you. Breathe with Bree. And. Yeah, you guys can follow that. Do you want me to, so what's the best way to do this? I don't know. Or do you want me to show you? Because
I can just look it up.
yeah, here, there you go. Because it's underscore and there's all this stuff, so.
I'll share it with that barefoot friend.
Yeah.
She does parenting and breathwork.
Yeah. So actually, Mark with his son, he was like, we were talking before about collaborating on something, but I want to work with I wanted to work with kids at first, and then I was like, some kids, they have to be like mature enough to do it, you know what I mean? Like my 17-year-old isn't really good at it, but then my 12-year-olds, so it depends on the kid. So then I was like, I want to go towards older kids, but then when our friend's son died, he's starting a foundation for 13-year-olds and it's like, hey,
Yep.
this is what you were wanting to do before, like we should collaborate.
Well, and don't not do it just because some kids can't concentrate.
Yeah.
Right, because
The right people will.
yeah,
come.
they'll get, the ones that can get the most out of it will.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I just have to be creative. Like I saw somewhere where they had like a pink light and then it was like grow and that's like an inhale and then it's shrink, for like the kids, like a visual aid to do it. So I just need to figure out how to tailor it towards younger kids. But yeah, it's so neat.
When I was
Yeah.
doing my breath work, I found a video that had that growing
Oh, yeah.
and shrinking, so I could follow it.
Yes, I know.
There's a lot of YouTube
Yeah.
meditations that have that.
How was that one for you? Was that hard to hold your breath for 7 seconds?
No, it was good when you were counting,
Yeah,
because I do a lot better when it's guided.
yeah,
For
I
sure.
know. And actually I like to do it with the rhythm of music too. So your mind is kind of like focused, but you're listening to my voice and.
Yeah, soothing.
I do the Wim Hof app
Oh,
quite a bit.
Okay,
Mhm.
he's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that intense on the app. He's got a bunch of exercises and a bunch of, things to do on there, but he's got a guided,
Yeah.
and you gotta, do your repetitions and all that kind of stuff.
Do you do it while you cold plunge?
No, I don't. No, when I cold plunge, I just cold plunge.
Yeah.
You just tell you to breathe if you go in with him.
Oh, yeah.
Start going hyperventilating. I've done that before.
I know.
Yeah,
You have
I'm
to control
usually,
your breath. You
I have
really
a
do it.
video actually of him saying, breathe in, breathe out.
Eric's familiar with that too. we cold plunged in my pool during the winter when it was
Gosh, that-
cold and everything. Eric came over a couple of times and the first time is just shocking.
Yeah.
And I realize I don't set expectations very good because I've been doing it for so long
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
you're gonna die. It's
It's-
just like, what are
Your
we
feet, like,
doing?
it's my feet that gets me. My feet like cramp up. I don't know if yours do, but it's awful. And I keep my hands out like this. I'm like, I can't put my hands in.
I was
like
gonna,
here.
I was gonna say, not your hands, but
Nope.
that explains why. It's just the
Yeah.
extremes.
So, maybe I'll.
Super cool. Well, Eric, I know you're not really frozen. That's just your picture on there, so. And Nathan, we're gonna sign this off so I can get set up for our training today. You're.
I will
yeah,
see you soon. I will see you.
you're-
Great job, Brianna. I love
Thank
it.
you. It's good seeing you.
See you,
Yep.
buddy.
See you in 20.
Bye, Nate. Okay, bye.
See ya.